Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer. Thanks to the Griff Cannon 22 for this one. Amy controls a blood moon and a temple garden, and she targets that temple garden with the ability from Quicksilver Fountain. After that ability resolves, what will be the types of temple garden? Okay, so with this question, there's two things that I want to bring everybody's attention to right away. First thing is, we have two different continuous effects that are acting on Temple Garden. Both of them want to change what land types it has. One of them wants to make it an island, the other one wants to make it a mountain. Because we have two continuous effects that are both being applied in the same layer, since they both do the same thing, that means that we're going to be doing timestamps to determine which of these is the one that applies first and which one applies second. We'll get to that a little bit later. The second thing that I wanted to point out here is that neither one of these continuous effects uses the words in addition to its other types or something similar in them. What that means is that both of these continuous effects, whenever they apply, are going to overwrite every land subtype that the Temple Garden happens to have, be it the forest and plains that it started out with, or the land subtype that was granted to it by any other continuous effects that may have already applied. In other words, whichever one of these continuous effects applies second is going to win out, and that's going to be the only basic land type that the Temple Garden has. Okay, so as originally presented in the problem statement, I said that the Blood Moon was already in play and the Quicksilver Fountain ability is going to resolve. So the timestamp from the Blood Moon is going to be based on when it comes into play, and the timestamp for the Quicksilver Fountain ability is going to be when the Quicksilver Fountain trigger for whichever land we're talking about happened to resolve. So in the problem statement that I originally presented, that would mean that the Quicksilver Fountain is going to win out because it has the later timestamp, and the Temple Garden would be an island in this case. Now, there's nothing special about that order, I just picked arbitrarily. If, for example, we had the Temple Garden already in play, and we had the Quicksilver Fountain ability resolve targeting it, and then only after all that happened we put the Blood Moon into play, well then the Blood Moon would have a later timestamp, and so the Temple Garden would end up being a mountain. One other thing that I wanted to bring up is that this would work pretty much exactly the same way if we were making it an island with some other card, like for example Spreading Seas. So if we had Spreading Seas instead of Quicksilver Fountain, the continuous effects on both those cards do basically the exact same thing, and so the ruling would be exactly the same. Of course, the only minor difference is that the timestamp from Spreading Seas is based on when it becomes attached to the permanent, not based on when a triggered ability resolves, but other than that, everything works exactly the same way. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.